Steve Sarkisian's coaching journey is nothing short of impressive. Before donning the burnt orange, he carved his name in the annals of football history. Steve Sarkisian has a long and arguably complicated history within college football, with a specifically more notable career within multiple Power 5 schools. This over two-decade stint within the realm of football can be surmised with many highs as well as some complicated lows. Let's first dive into the history of Steve Sarkisian and some of the notable events that led him to his current success as the head coach of the Texas Longhorn football program. Steve Sarkisian's Power 5 coaching career starts off in the well-known historical powerhouse USC in 2001. After hanging up his cleats as a professional QB for the 1998-1999 Saskatchewan Roughriders in the Canadian Football League, and a short stint as the quarterback coach for El Camino College in 2000. Sarkisian joined USC through a connection he had with his former college coach, Norm Chow, who was the offensive coordinator under the then new head coach, Pete Carroll. Yes, that Pete Carroll, and yes, that USC team. Under Pete Carroll, Sarkisian operated as an offensive assistant for the 2001 season, and then as the quarterback coach for the 2002 and 2003 season. During this stint, he was able to cultivate some future Heisman-winning QBs and future NFL players such as Carson Palmer and Matt Leinart. After having notable success at USC, he then pursued an opportunity in the NFL with the Oakland Raiders in 2004 as their QB coach. After a semi-successful stint in Oakland, he returned back to USC for the infamous 2005 Reggie Bush Heisman season as the assistant head coach/quarterback coach, where they ironically ran into and lost to what would be his future head coaching landing spot, Texas University. Following that season, Sarkisian stayed with USC through the 2008 season, elevating to USC's offensive coordinator following Lane Kiffin's move to being the head coach of the Oakland Raiders following the end of the 2007 season. Sarkisian's tenure with the USC came to an end during this particular decade after he decided to elevate to becoming the 23rd head coach of the University of Washington following a winless 2008 season. This would be the first of a few head coaching opportunities Steve would obtain during his coaching career, and not the last time he would be looked at as someone that can turn around a struggling program. His first season as head coach, Washington ended the season with a 5-7 record, which is not bowl eligible, but was definitely a welcome record improvement from the previous season. The 2009 season can be highlighted with a 16-13 win against number 3 ranked USC and an upset 42-10 win against number 19 California. The next 3 seasons all ended with a record of 7-5 and only 1 win in the 2010 bowl game. He ended his tenure with Washington in 2013 with a season record of 8-4 and an overall college record of 34-29. Following the end of the 2013 season, a new opportunity arose at his old stomping grounds, USC. This new opportunity came in the form of a head coaching job that was far from the duties he once carried out back in 2001. But this time around, he wouldn't leave the university on his own terms as he once did before. Sarkisian started off his tenure as head coach by leading the Trojans to a 9-4 record and a bowl game win during the 2014 season. He would start off the 2015 season as head coach of the Trojans, but unfortunately would not complete this season in the same position. He led them to a 3-2 record before unexpectedly being placed on an indefinite suspension by the university and then a day later being fired as head coach of the USC Trojans. According to numerous outlets at the time, USC athletic director Pat Hayden announced Sarkisian would take an indefinite leave of absence after Sarkisian came to pre-practice meetings only to have his assistant tell him to go home when he appeared to be intoxicated. Scott Wolf, the USC beat writer for the Los Angeles Daily News, reported on Twitter that several players smelled alcohol on Sarkisian's breath. According to ESPN, Hayden had placed Sarkisian on a zero-tolerance policy regarding alcohol use after Sarkisian claimed to have mixed alcohol with medication, despite the fact that he appeared simply to have drunk far too heavily before giving a drunken and profanity-laced speech at a Booster Club event. Sarkisian apologized after the incident before the 2015 season began. The apparent intoxication at practice would have been grounds for termination. However, multiple reports said that Sarkisian's assistants believed he was drunk during a game against Arizona State. Hours before Sarkisian's firing, the Los Angeles Times reported that Sarkisian had been involved in numerous alcohol-related incidents while at the University of Washington. Hayden admitted that he had not done a public records check on Sarkisian prior to hiring him. Sarkisian filed a $30 million wrongful termination lawsuit against USC, but later agreed to move it to a private arbitration. He eventually lost the suit and did not appeal, stating he would respect the results and move on. People make mistakes in life. It's only natural. The most important thing is to learn from those mistakes and improve on one's life in order to become better human beings. This is seemingly the approach Sarkisian took after his tumultuous event. He seemingly improved on his personal life and decisions, thus receiving a second chance at being a coach when he received a call from the legendary coach, Nick Saban. Nick Saban hired Sarkisian as an analyst for their football team during the 2016 season. He would later be moved up to offensive coordinator for the national championship game against Clemson after then offensive coordinator Lane Kiffin left to become the head coach of Florida Atlantic. The Tide would lose narrowly to the Tigers in his first and only game of the 2016 season, but this game will lead way to another stint in the NFL by way of becoming the offensive coordinator for the Atlanta Falcons for the 2017 and 2018 season. After obtaining similar results with the Falcons as he did his first stint in the NFL, Sarkisian returned back to Alabama and once again took up the mantle of being the offensive coordinator for the Rool Tide. During his second stint at Alabama, Sarkisian coached quarterbacks Mac Jones and Tua Tagovailoa. He won the Broyles Award given to the nation's top coaching assistant for his coaching during the 2020 season. He also won the Football Scope Offensive Coordinator of the Year award, voted on by previous winners of the award. Following continued success as the top offensive coordinator in college football, Sarkisian will once again get the opportunity to be a college football head coach. On January 2, 2021, Sarkisian was named the 31st head coach of the University of Texas. His initial contract at Texas was 6 years, $34.2 million. At the beginning of Sarkisian's first season as the head coach at Texas, the Longhorns were ranked number 21 in the AP poll. Sarkisian began the year by leading the Longhorns to a 38-18 victory over the number 23 ranked Louisiana Rag Cajuns. In week 2 of the 2021 season, the Longhorns were defeated 21-40 by the Arkansas Razorbacks in the first matchup in the Arkansas-Texas football rivalry since the 2014 Texas Bowl. In the following week, Sarkisian led the Longhorns to a 58-0 victory over Rice, a 70-35 victory over Texas Tech, and a 32-27 victory over TCU. The Longhorns then proceeded to lose 6 consecutive games, which the program hasn't done since the 1956 season. Though Sarkisian and the Longhorns finished the season with a disappointing 5-7 record, some bright spots included the second best offense in the Big 12 with 35.3 points per game, and wide receiver Xavier Worthy receiving the True Freshman All-American honor, as well as being elected Big 12 Offensive Freshman of the Year, earning a spot on the 2021 All-Big 12 first team. His 2022 season went a lot better than the previous season as he was able to lead Texas to an 8-5 season with a bowl game appearance. So now let's further discuss those NFL detours that Sarkisian took throughout his career that made him into the coach that he is today. As we previously mentioned sparingly, Sarkisian's journey also took him to the NFL, a unique chapter in his coaching career indeed. Many coaches in college football have aspirations of one day being a coach in the NFL and maybe a head coach. With those aspirations have come many failures and some success stories like Pete Carroll. Like coaches such as Pete, Sarkisian took the plunge into the NFL world twice with varying results. In 2004, Sarkisian moved to the professional ranks as a quarterback coach for the Oakland Raiders of the NFL. Oakland compiled more than 4,000 passing yards, ranking 8th out of the 32 NFL teams in passing yardage. This could be considered a success in a lot of regards. While his second stint in the NFL had mixed opinions from both critics and his supporters. On February 7, 2017, Sarkisian was hired as offensive coordinator for the Atlanta Falcons, taking over for the recently departed Kyle Shanahan, who left to become the head coach of the 49ers. The offensive scoring output under his guidance dropped from 33.8 points per game, leading NFL in 2016 to 22.1 points per game in 2017. In 2018, the offensive scoring improved to 25.9 points per game. On December 31, 2018, he was fired as offensive coordinator. Up until this point in his career, it would be safe to say that he had a more successful collegiate career than in the pros, which is okay because he seems to have found his lane and he's thriving as recently as this season. So now, let's talk about the secret sauce that has fueled Texas' resurgence. Recruiting. Texas has slowly become a top school when it comes to recruiting the best of the best in the country. These players have provided a clear picture for the future recruits on the type of results and success you can obtain by playing for the Longhorns, but also a believable pathway to becoming an NFL player one day. Sarkisian's managed to acquire an ESPN Top 20 ranked 2021 recruiting class, highlighted by players like Ja'Tavion Sanders, Xavier Worthy, Byron Murphy II, and Hayden Connor. He followed up this foundational recruiting class with an even better class that was ranked number 5 recruiting class by 24/7 Sports, highlighted by players like highly touted right guard DJ Campbell, Kelvin Banks Jr., Terrence Brooks, and Ethan Burks. The emergence of previous talent on this Texas team and the infusion of newer talented players from their recruiting classes made way for some swift improvements in the caliber of football Texas was able to play. It's also not a coincidence that following the disappointing 2021 season came a respectable 8-5 2022 season from the Longhorns that began giving students and alumni hope for better days ahead. So far this season, the Longhorns have seemingly delivered on those results with the help of some of the touted players from the Longhorns' number 3 24/7 Sports ranked 2023 recruiting class that included the likes of Arch Manning, CJ Baxter, Anthony Hill, and Johnny Cooks II that are either major starters or more than capable backup players for this team. Now, all the credit cannot solely be placed on the recruiting class or those left over from the previous regime, even though they are major contributors to the Longhorns' success. The transfer portal has become a game changer in college football, and Sarkisian has aced this game. Specifically, the last 2 years, Sarkisian has acquired starter caliber players through the portal. Some of the key players Texas managed to bring in that would change the fortunes of this university were guys like Quinn Ewers, who was a highly touted 2022 transfer from the Ohio State University. Cornerback Ryan Watts, who was also a highly touted, came from the 2022 transfer from the Ohio State University. Wide receiver Adonai Mitchell, who arrived as a 2023 transfer after playing a pivotal role in the University of Georgia winning the national championship, and free safety Jalen Catalon, who arrived as a 2023 transfer from the University of Arkansas. These players from the transfer portal and recruiting classes all addressed significant offensive and defensive needs Texas had been lacking in previous seasons, as well as mitigated the loss of bigger names that have moved on to the NFL, such as Bijan Robinson. All of these events have led to where Texas is currently sitting in the college football ranks as the number 5 team in the nation and holding a 2-0 record at the time of this video. So now, let's talk about who has been a standout player for this season's team. Every great team needs standout players. Who are the stars that have shown brightest for Texas in 2023? Through the first 2 pivotal games of this college football season, these players have not only led the charge for Texas Longhorn football resurgence, but also deserve recognition for their individual play so far this season. So as of week 3 of the college football season, Quinn Ewers has completed 43 of 63 attempted passes for 609 yards, 6 touchdowns, and no interceptions. Jonathan Brooks is leading the team with 109 yards rushing on 26 carries and 1 rushing touchdown. Xavier Worthy, Ja'Tavion Sanders, and Adonai Mitchell are leading this revitalized passing attack with a combined 427 receiving yards and 5 touchdowns. And finally, linebackers David Benda, Jalen Ford, and defensive end Ethan Burks are leading this revitalized defense with 30 combined tackles and each touting out 2 sacks each for double-digit sack yards. So in conclusion, Steve Sarkisian's tenure at the University of Texas has been nothing short of spectacular. His rich coaching history, NFL experience, knack for recruiting, successful use of the transfer portal, the impact of star players, and the iconic win over Alabama have all played their part in Texas football's remarkable resurgence. So, do you believe Sarkisian has what it takes to lead Texas to the college football playoff glory? Share your thoughts in the comments below. This is your host, Triple Play Sports Talk, signing off. Stay tuned for more exciting football discussions and insights. Hook 'em horns.